Welcome back. This week's project is going to be building a PID controller for your tempering oven. The purpose of a PID controller is to more precisely hold a set temperature within a tighter range than is possible by using the toaster's stock controller. To explain this, here is an example of how my toaster operated before the PID versus how it's operating now after the PID controller has been hooked up. Both were set to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Notice how the toaster continued not only to build over my set point, but how it fluctuated before I installed the PID. The PID is much more steady and eases up to its set point slowly. This makes me confident that it won't overshoot set points, and that is critical when tempering. You will also notice that my PID is not perfect yet. It takes a really long time to move up to the set point, as you can see in long fluctuations. This can be adjusted with the tuning process, which we'll go over a little bit later, but I'm definitely not a pro when it comes to tuning these PIDs, and I have a lot to learn. The controller I used was a Rex C100. It was a very cheap controller. It was pretty much the cheapest one I can find on eBay. I wouldn't advise doing that. I would actually advise going with a much better controller. I also used a 15 amp switch from Home Depot, a fuse holder, the SSR and the heatsink both came with the controller. The SSR was actually defective, which we'll find out later. I have some thermal grease to go in between the SSR and the heatsink, so it's a nice seated connection. And then two plugs, female and male, for the back of the box. And the thermocouple, which also came with the PID controller. So I did something dumb here and I decided to make my own box for this PID controller. I would highly advise buying a circuits box to do the same task. This ended up just being more of a pain than it was worth. But it got done. It looks messy. I'm not a woodworker by any means, so please don't judge me. Marked out where the components will go into the box, the PID controller, the fuse holder, the switch, and then the male and female plug. I used all 14 gauge wires on this build. I went to Harbor Freight and got some terminal connectors, a big box of them. Here I'm connecting the power cables to the male and female plugs. I then applied a liberal amount of thermal grease to the bottom of the SSR and attached it to the heatsink. Next, we're going to get into the wiring diagram for this PID controller. So this is my attempt at drawing out a wiring diagram. It's the first one I ever did, so don't be too harsh. Let's start at the male plug. So the first thing you'll do is you'll attach the grounds from the male plug to the female plug. Then you'll take your white wire of your power cable, run it to terminal 2 in the PID, and you take your white wire from your female cable and run it to terminal 2 in the PID as well. And then you can follow your black wire and you can kind of understand how this whole thing works. Your black wire goes from your male plug to the switch, then to the fuse, and then to terminal 1 of your PID. Then you'll run a black wire from terminal 1 of your PID to terminal 1 of the SSR. And then terminal 2 of the SSR will go to your female plug. So this is how your power will make a circuit to the female plug. How much power and how often that power gets sent to the female plug will be controlled by terminals 4 and terminals 5 of your PID. These terminals will send signals to your SSR that will dictate how much power gets sent to your female plug via terminals 1 and terminals 2 of your SSR. It will determine these signals by inputs from your thermocouple, which will plug into terminals 9 and 10. So now I'm going to go to the garage and show you how to wire this PID. Notice that the audio will change, so I apologize for that up front. Alright, we're going to do this wiring from the top. We have currently in the box a male outlet, a female plug to plug into, an SSR 40 amp DA made in Taiwan attached to a heat sink which is attached to the box, a switch, a 15 amp fuse, and the PID. And we're going to walk through the wiring of this thing from the top to remove all the confusion. So first thing I'm going to do is, most PIDs come with a thermocouple. The one that I bought, in order for it to be oriented correctly, the red is on 10, which is the positive, and the blue is on 9, which is the negative. So I'm going to put that in. Alright, so you notice I left some wires in here. This black wire is going from the switch to the fuse, and then the fuse will eventually it'll go from the fuse to the PID. But we're going to start at the power side of this whole assembly. So we'll hook up our power wire to one of these terminals here. And then route this wire on the bottom under all of this and hook it into our switch. Now the power will be going from our outlet and from a male plug to the switch to the fuse, and then we're eventually going to bring this power into our PID. We'll take this wire here, which is supposed to be black, couple it with the power wire, and attach it to the first terminal. So terminal 1, terminal 1. Do it just like this. So both of those terminals go into outlet number 1. Okay, so we go from the male plug to the switch to the fuse to outlet number 1 to number 1 on the SSR, and then from number 2 to the SSR we're going to go to the female plug. Female plug. Yeah. And then this guy is going to go into number 2. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to attach our ground wires. I should have done that first. Make it easier. So we're going to twist these together. Okay. Let's do the grounding. Now we're going to do the white. So in order to do the white and neutral, we'll go into, we'll start at the female plug, hook up that connector, bring this around the bottom, and it's going to go on the port number 2. But we also need to hook up this white wire. This will go onto the terminal of the male plug and then come around the bottom here to go to number 2. Okay, and then finally, 2 wires here. The bottommost wire is going to go 5 We go 5, and 5 is the negative. So we'll go right there. Okay. And then this guy is going to go number 3 on the SSR, which is the positive, and then number 4 on the PID. Which is also the positive. And that's it. So we'll plug it in. Get the power. Red light's on. That means it's sending power to this female plug. We're good. So that's it. The next step is to plug your toaster into the female outlet and then plug the male outlet into the wall and turn the PID on. If you have a legitimate controller, you can utilize the Autotune feature on the controller. This one I think is a cheap Chinese knockoff of a Taiwanese Rex C100, so the Autotune doesn't work very well. But if you have a real Rex, what you do is you go into your settings, make sure your lock is off, and then you go set your Autotune function, which is right there, to 1. And then after you hold the set button down, you'll notice the bottom left hand blinking light is the Autotune light, and your controller theoretically should tune itself to ramp up to a temperature and hold it. I found pretty poor results doing this with my Rex C100. This is a good time to reiterate that if I had to do this again, I would not buy the Rex C100. I would either buy a MyPen controller or an Inkbird controller. So far I've been messing around tuning this PID myself. The set points I currently have is a P of 70, an I of 650, and a D of 30. So the P stands for proportional control, and this is your power, how fast you want to ramp up the temperature. The I is the integral control, and this will reduce the error from your set point. And then the D is a derivative control, and what it does is it's supposed to take care of short-term oscillations and overshooting. I'll make sure to put a link in the description below to a PDF that will help you with manual tuning. It helped me a lot. The last thing left to do was to build a cage for my tempering. What this cage will do is, first of all, it will act as a heatsink to steady out the temperature inside the oven so that you don't see short-term fluctuations in the internal heat, since there's a big heavy plate sitting there hot. The second thing it will do is it will shield the blades from the heating elements radiating heat directly onto them. So as you see here, I drilled a small hole halfway through this steel plate, and then I welded a nut onto the bottom of the plate. This is where my thermocouple will thread into. I welded some pillars onto it and then a top onto the cage. You can see here how the thermocouple threads in through the bottom of the toaster and screws into the bottom of the plate. And that's it. I like putting my blade in an upright position with the blade touching the heavy plate on the bottom, and then you just turn your PID on and it will ramp up to your set temperature. One last thing I'd like to note is that on this controller, if you take your blade out, cool it, then put it back in, all while leaving the PID on, it will likely overrange the PID. So what I do is I first turn the controller off, then take my blade out, cool it to room temperature, and then come back, put the blade in, and turn the controller back on for my second tempering cycle. This seems to work pretty good, and it won't overshoot the temperatures in this scenario. But before, if you left it on the whole time, when you put your cold blade back into the toaster, it would normally overshoot my set temperature by 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm not sure if that's just because this is a cheap knockoff or if that is normal with PIDs. So that's a wrap. I hope this video was helpful for everybody. I was intimidated by the PID build process in the beginning, And so what I wanted to do with this video was make it less intimidating and more accessible to anyone who wants to build a PID. After watching this video, it's probably obvious that I'm not a professional on this topic, but if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them below. If you like this content and content like it, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I'll have more fun and interesting videos coming at you in the future. Until then, I'll catch you on the flip side.